So anyone new to this? Just sitting here, playing a bit and answering your questions. And also trying to get you to join my cult over at the practice room. So I'm gonna put that in the chat to make it super easy for you. Here we go. Even gonna pin it. Hey, Shahar. Yeah, I do. I use all of that stuff, but you know, depends on my current needs. Lately, I've been doing a lot of just left hand, fretting hand, so not really this thing. Hey, Isaac Healer. What's Chris, right? I might be misremembering. I'm getting old. Anyway, so just doing left hand work. Oh wow, there you go. Hey Vince, nice to see you, man. So just doing the left hand is helpful. And I try to do it now without, I don't do this muting here. I just try to mute normally. I mean, usually I tend to do descending legato like that anyway, but it's trickier, for me at least, to start a new string with the index finger without, you know, sounding like that. So. Let's try to get a good tone. Yeah. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. It's quite impressive though that he actually kept going. I mean, he's still going, I guess. thing that's bad about only using the left hand, it's just an exercise for me, but you can't really do that kind of stuff where you bar, because you can't, doesn't really work. So. I mean, you can arrange things, you don't have to do that, but hard to avoid it in certain phrases. I mean, it's different from, and not day to day necessarily, but it depends on what I'm into. So, but as much as possible. But it's very, you know, tricky to explain that. Not really to explain what I'm doing, but in the sense that the whole point of the Practice Room Pro and my guitar coaching is to give the student a practice routine that's going to reach, you know, help them reach their goal quicker. And whatever routine one person is going to have is going to be very different from what another person has, because they're going to be starting at different points. It's quite similar to if you have a good personal trainer. You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, okay, you just chuck in on Arnold's old chest building routine and just give that to everyone, and you would kill everyone in the gym. Also, it depends on what the goal is, right, and where you're at. So that's why you need to be. It's hard to give like a, oh yeah, just do this, because whatever I'm working on, most likely you wouldn't be working on. So, and I did the same sort of mistake back in the day as well. I would just, you know, be interested to hear like, oh, what does Steve Vai work on now? And what Steve Vai worked on then, when he had played guitar 20 years longer than me, would not be the same thing that I should be working on. So. But in general, I would say that don't try to do too much if you have, you know, if you don't have a lot of time to practice, especially, you need to focus. Otherwise, you'll just be spinning your wheels because you're not doing anything. You don't get enough stimulus for that part of your playing for it to actually improve noticeably. And if it doesn't improve noticeably fairly quickly, it's easy to sort of lose motivation as well. Minimum, it depends on where you want to go. Again, if your goal is to play, I mean, if you just look at technique, right? If your goal is to play B.B. King style blues, that will take way less technique in terms of pure speed and the different techniques needed, but it will take, you need to work more on the phrasing and all that stuff. But it's not as practice heavy in terms of the going through all these different combinations and learning all the scales and stuff like that. I'm not saying that it's easier, but I'm just saying that in terms of pure raw practice guitar in hand, you need more time to get it up to like a Dream Theater, Yngwie, Steve Vai guitar virtuoso level than you would need to learn how to play, you know, a really good be a good blues guitar player. On the other hand, you would work on very different stuff as a blues guitar player. The technique wouldn't take that much time, but then, you know, you would have to get a big vocabulary of blues phrases. So you would have to learn a lot of, well, I say transcribe, but I don't mean write it down, but learn by ear. And just anything that you like in the blues idiom. And then, you know, start incorporating that into your playing. So it's hard to say what, you know, how much practice you need, because there's really no minimum. And also, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. Just put as much time as you can. Anyway, if all you can do is an hour a day, then you do an hour a day. If all you can do is 30 minutes, then you make sure you get your 30 minutes in, and maybe look like, okay, can I get some more time in somewhere in my day? And most people can do that if they actually look at their schedule. One big thing that's easy to fall into is that you look at your schedule and you're like, no, I don't have a 2-hour gap here where I can practice guitar. You don't need that. If you have 5 minutes and you have a guitar nearby, you can still get some work done if you know what you're gonna work on, right? And that's where it's good to have like a short list of stuff that you're working on. And working on something can just entail, you know, it can be you're working on a chord change. If you do that for like 5 minutes and just sit and try to get that as accurate as possible. So timer is a good thing to use. I like to use this, you know, and if there's a specific technique issue you've noticed, like, oh, I have real hard time with inside picking, whatever, then you can just do work on this. If you sit like this for 5 minutes, you'll definitely feel a difference if you do that consistently. If you do more, that will be even better. But if you're really, you know, short on time and you can only sit down for like half an hour as a big stretch of time, if you then can add, you know, 3, 4, 5 minute chunks, that will make a huge difference in your progress. And if you have more time, just fucking get down and do it. So I'm not shitting on your question, Amit. It's just that I think I wouldn't try to optimize it to be like, yeah, what's the minimum amount of time I can spend on this? Like, if you want to do it and want to get better, just try to find more time to do it. Because, you know, even if I said like, well, for an intermediate player, which I don't agree that that's a thing even, because intermediate in what? You can be really good at, you know, but you can, you know, barely, you cannot play, you know, that stuff, even, you know, if you want to do that, or maybe you're suck at slide playing, but you're really good at sweep picking. I mean, what's intermediate? It's very hard to say. I feel it's just a marketing thing. It's like, oh, buy my book for intermediate guitar players. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that, let's say I would just say, okay, Amit, make sure you practice. You need to practice 1 hour and 15 minutes per day if you're an intermediate player, and you only have 45 minutes. Then what? They're gonna be like, oh shit, I can't do it then. No, you just do the best you can. And the better practice habits you have, the more you're gonna get out of those minutes that you have to practice. Hey, Ryan. Well, if you want to get good at riffs, you need to practice riffs. And I don't really teach a lot of, you know, riffs and stuff in my content, because I feel it's you're way better off just learning the riffs you like, and then you take, because riffs are usually like very much like, okay, here's an intro, or here's the verse, or here's the chorus, and so it's very easy to loop a riff, and they're usually not going to be longer than maybe 8 bars or something. And then you can just loop that and play it over and over again at different tempos. And that's the best way I know how to get better at the rhythm guitar stuff, because it doesn't make sense to be like, all right, so we're gonna work on this now. It's like, why would you want to do that if you can go instead, right? Work on some weird, you know, rhythm guitar exercise. Just go straight to the riff. I think with solos it's a bit different, because there's so much stuff to work on. So it's a better bet to have some exercises that develop the fretting hand as much as possible, and the picking and all that stuff, so you can sort of prepare yourself for solos instead of just taking one solo and just grinding that, because usually what happens is that you're just gonna end up hating the solo. And also if it's like a pentatonic thing, that's all you play for like 2 weeks, you basically don't use these two together at all, for example, and you only do 2 notes per string picking, it's not a great thing. So I think riffs, great, go straight to the music, just make, you can make it super easy. You just put first riff or half of the riff or whatever, and then you do that for 5 minutes, and there's different practice techniques you can use as well, but just make sure to listen to the actual recording so you can get all the nuances right, and that definitely goes for solos as well. But I think for getting your overall soloing technique up, it's good to work on all the different techniques as well. So in the town that I come from, middle of Sweden, we had this guy that was amazing at these riffs, like all the Metallica stuff, Slayer and all that shit. And he said like, I could just, I could just remove these 3 strings. I don't use them. He's like, all the riffs, he didn't give a shit about leads at all, but he was really good at the riffs. And I can 100% say that he has never done a riff exercise in his life. He just learned the riffs from the recording. So that's super important. 1 second, guys. There we go. I'm using Neural DSP. This is the Petrucci plugin. Archetype Petrucci. It's pretty cool. Prologue sound. Hi, a while ago I was on your mailing list and it was a little overwhelming with the different courses. What's the best place today to look for your courses? I would absolutely say it depends on how much help you need, but there's like 3 spots left on my Practice Room Pro. It's linked in the description, and then you get access to all the courses, but more to the point, you get my personal help. We have like a 15-minute onboarding call, and I help you write a practice schedule for your goals, and then you have your own thread in that Practice Room Pro forum, where basically we send videos and do all that stuff. So the goal with that is not to just throw you a lot of courses, but to have you work on things that actually, you know, it's going to help you reach your goals quicker, and also be able to sit down without wondering like, am I doing the right thing now? Should I do this instead? Should I do that? Because this shiny object syndrome is very real, right? You start working on one thing and then you're like, maybe this is not right, and then you want to jump on something else, and then nothing happens basically because you just keep switching everything up. So that's what I would suggest. And if that's not interesting, just tell me what you want to improve, and then I can put a link here in the description for you. Yes, great tones. I agree. Ryan, love that tip in a recent email about starting licks with both up, down, but it's you know, a lot of people are, for whatever reason, the inside picking, right? So outside picking is this, when you go outside the pairs of strings. So if you go down on the G string, up on the B string, for example, then inside picking is the opposite, where you go up on the G string, down on the B string. And a lot of people feel like they're trapped in between here, but well, whichever you like the most, you should definitely work on the other one as well, because you can't really play a scale without doing both, right? Because here I have down, up, so that's outside picking, inside picking, out, in, out. And that goes for pretty much any lick that you play. You're gonna go between different, you know, depending on how many notes per string and all that stuff. But it's really hard to avoid the picking, the outside, or whether you like outside or inside picking. It's hard to avoid the other one that you don't like. So it's better to just work on it. And you might always prefer outside picking or inside picking, but if you can at least do the other one without it being this big train wreck, then you're much better off. And it's very easy to do that because you just simply work on both ways. So. And also another thing, just spend some time doing only upstrokes. You can just improvise like I'm doing now, or just play a scale, just take the pentatonic, and you try to get it to sound as good as possible. And usually that means you have quite a quick pick stroke, so you don't get that. So you really listen to what you're doing. saw Paul Gilbert talk about some warm-up that he did where you go like... something like that, where you do kind of a shuffle. So, I don't think it matters much what you do, but just work on all upstrokes, because that's usually what people's weakness will be, because a lot of people have done a lot of downstrokes anyway, so. Except Shahar. I remember that, Shahar. You did this, you said. Yeah, well, the ear training course will definitely help with that. And also, it's more, for songwriting, it's more the approach on how you learn things that's going to help you more than anything. But that's something that that's also something that I could help you with in the Practice Room Pro, because it's whatever your goals are, and then, you know, so check that out. Because in that, and in the Pro as well, if there's something that I don't have covered already, that I, you know, can link to in the practice schedule, I'll just make a lesson specifically for that. But in terms of the theory for songwriting, it's, you know, quite a big subject, so it depends on what you know now and what you need to work on. I fucking hope not that it peaked at GIT. I played guitar for 2 years when I went to GIT. 2.5 years, I think. Also, I don't think I've peaked yet. That's... Come on, Orion. You need to think better of yourself as well, because what? So you think your skills peaked? No. If you keep practicing, you're gonna get better. And I'm 100% sure that when you see people's technique, for example, get worse as they get older, it's mostly because they're not practicing as they would before. So you have Steve Morse. He has a, you know, legit health problem with it, so that's different. But when I listened to, I saw Frank Gambale a few weeks ago, and he's fucking amazing. He's so consistent live. So it's crazy. Yngwie, real drop off, I think, in his accuracy, but I think he doesn't practice at all, really. You mean this stuff? Ah, no, I don't. This just hurts just to do it. So no, don't do any stretch, just do tapping. So you can do this. But I tend to see that as more like guitar tricks almost. Which is Mustaine stuff? Doing this? I've never seen him do that, but I know that Nuno Bettencourt does it in that thing. Oh, I haven't seen that either, Jason. I'm not saying he doesn't do it, but I just haven't seen it. For me, this reminds me more of Jake E. Lee. Remember an old guitar mag where got it from a friend. It was like from late 80s, so I hadn't even started playing then. But it was such a, you know, oh yeah, Eddie got his thing, and oh, this is my thing now. So everyone's looking for their thing. It's kind of silly, like, yeah, I can do this now, so I can stretch really far. I know that he said he has arthritis, but didn't he also like have like a skateboarding accident or something like that? Where he actually broke his right arm? Probably doesn't help. I'm not familiar with sleep. Well, when you apply dotted rhythms, you replace the rhythm of whatever you're practicing with the dotted rhythm, right? So if you have something that you know that kind of goes makes this note longer without going into the notation, you would still just do it, and then and so on. So I wouldn't change anything else. Josh from JHS Pedal got Royal Fire from a mountain. Yeah. And that's why I don't really ski. Do any kind of downhill skiing shit. At least that's my story. I'm not scared. No, I think that would be not a great thing. Also because I don't really enjoy skiing much. Probably because I suck at it, but it would really suck to get injured doing something that I don't particularly enjoy. You can do, you know, silly things as well. I mean, I think Rick Graham had an issue with, I think it was this arm, that he fell asleep on the arm in a weird position, and he got real issues with it for, I think at least a few weeks, if not a couple of months. So it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It was the Boss Katana version 2 or whatever. It's in the living room now. So sometimes when I watch TV and hang with the dogs, I will have that on. Not so much when the wife is home; she would murder me. But it's actually really cool with the wireless thing. So you can just walk around and play some guitar. That was the last thing I bought. I haven't bought a guitar in years because Ola given me quite a few. Oh, it sounds great. I mean, I think those kind of amps are you don't need really anything else for practicing. It probably doesn't work as well if you have try to rehearse with a band or something, because I'm not sure how good it sounds when you go really loud, but just practice, I think it's absolutely enough. That happened to me. Also, stepped on my arm and lost fine control of my footing after a week. I used slow play. Oh yeah, yeah. It's such a such a shitty story. Like it isn't like I dealt with some thugs in a dark alley. No, I fell asleep on the sofa, and then yeah, this happened. Actually, I had a Swedish student who managed to. He was helping his brother to move, and then he did the same thing. Fell asleep on his arm. He had some, he could feel something weird in his shoulder, and apparently he dislocated the shoulder, and then during the night, and then somehow rolled over on it. So he broke like the ball that you have inside the shoulder. He crushed that, so he had to be in like a splint for, I don't know, 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something. But what we did then, he got to work on only, we put something like this, whoops, something like this over, and then he could just work on all hammer-ons. So his technique was actually better when he got back to it, once his right hand got back into shape. So when stuff like that happens, it's if you're not hurting, it's a good idea to just focus on the other hand, because I know it's good to work on doing stuff like that, but when you can play with both hands, it's so boring to do this. So even though would be really beneficial for the right hand, or if you hurt your right hand and you do the equivalent for the left hand, it's a good idea to do that. And if you can't do that, just do the same amount of practice, but put it into ear training and learn more theory and listen to more music or something, instead of being like, oh shit, poor me, and then you don't do anything, and then 8 weeks later you're gonna be like, ugh, it's really hard to start playing again. So maybe give yourself a day or two of poor me. It's always good. Then it's pure David Goggins mode after that. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna do a stream over at the normal practice room. See if anyone shows up there. But great questions. Yeah, I get that you panicked. Oh yeah, that's not great. I had the only thing that happened to me is that I used to sit in front of the computer like this, and resting my elbow, and then after a while I started getting like tingly feeling in the pinky and the third finger. But then when I realized, like, oh, okay, if I stop doing that, and then again took like a week or two, and then it disappeared. But that shit needs to be taken seriously for sure. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna do a stream now in the practice room, so you can join me there or not.